this coming Friday, the jobs report is going to be coming out, and it's going to be a backward look, but still it's going to be good information for us. And, he was talking in an interview a couple of weeks ago that he's thinking it's going to be, the national rate is going to be north of 16, 17%. My estimates are at around 17%. For New Jersey, I think our unemployment rate today is around, over 20%. So, as the mayor said, we really need Congress and the administration to be much more aggressive with getting aid down to the local level. As Tip O'Neill used to say, all politics is local. Well, all economics is local.
What happens, Mayor? Do you have contingency plans in place for what happens if that shortfall comes in? I mean, do you know from the governor how a $30 billion shortfall affects Teaneck and whether there are specific services? Because I imagine residents of Teaneck, like residents anywhere else in any state, many states across America that are going to have massive shortfalls, are expecting to hear that things are going to change, whether that's garbage collection or policing or emergency services.
We lived through this over I've been in office for a decade. And after the last financial collapse and after the last administration that was in New Jersey, we really learned not to depend on state aid for our municipal budgets. The school board is a different story because they get a lot more state aid than the municipality does. Our contingency plans, are in place. We don't expect to do layoffs. We don't expect to do furloughs. Again, I'm a bigger municipality, the second largest municipality in Bergen County, where I have a lot of levers to play with. But the smaller municipalities that are dependent on state aid, like my budget is a $77 million budget, but a lot of towns in Bergen County, are like $15 to $20 million. And, when you take a $500,000 hit, it's very hard to make that money up for them, other than raising property taxes. Now, how do you raise property taxes with an unemployment rate of upwards of northern of 20%? So this is where, again, if my message is clear, it's opening up the spigot, right? And we can fix this. We're the reserve currency of the world. I don't know why they keep making these things up. Whenever we need to find money, we can find money. Right? We find money for wars. We find money for defense spending. We can't find money for the American people. And this is what really ticks me off, is that when you see in this country, you see all these people who are protesting, and you see, the Trumper and the MAGA movement, or you see the Bernie movement. It's the same thing. People don't trust Washington anymore. People don't think that they care about us. And, time and time again, this is the third trauma that this country has suffered in the last 2 decades, right? And each time you think that the institutions would learn how to move quicker and how to take care of the American people. And we just saw 2 weeks ago that the Federal Reserve again gave a $500 million loan guarantees to the Fortune 1000 companies, again, without putting any restrictions on layoffs and no restrictions on executive bonuses, right? They did the workaround. Right? They couldn't get it through Congress. They knew they couldn't get it through the Senate, so they did the workaround.
Yeah, so they did it through the Fed.
Through the Fed. So at what point, with no oversight, right? So at what point do the American people really look at this and say, Washington really doesn't care about us? And that's why, you see people like Bernie Sanders who are very popular, and you see people like Trump who are very popular. And it's that kind of the statement the statement that they're making is that we want an alternative because the usual suspects don't care about us. And that's why I implore both the Senate and the Congress to get together and take care of the American people.
And Bill, the mayor makes a remarkable point. Joe Stiglitz makes this point all the time, that the people who were supporting Bernie Sanders and the people who support Donald Trump share a view that that others get what they don't get, even though they follow the rules, they work, they go to school, they try and get what they need done. This Federal Reserve money that is going to the largest of American companies without restrictions on laying people off, without restrictions on executive compensation, and without restrictions on stock buybacks, which, by the way, we saw a lot of last week, a lot of companies buying their stock back. It does do what the mayor says. It does piss people off. It is remarkable that somehow they can figure out how to get the financial services going. The stock market had the best month it has had in 33 years. And I would imagine most Americans have had the worst month that they have had in 33 years in April.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sure. And the challenge that Americans have been facing, this is not something that's just recent, is the mayor just did. He connected the dots that, people feel bullied by globalization, people feel bullied by technology, and we've seen an erosion in our social safety nets, and we've seen erosions in the ability of unions to protect and help create safe and fair workplaces. And so, and then we've also been pulling back in terms of the funding of the federal government, or the funding of government, to be able to respond and provide unemployment insurance in a timely manner. There's the 3 T's when we look at what's going on: timely, is it temporary, and is it targeted? And the Congress and the administration, especially the leadership in the White House, has really been failing in that manner. So, again, I'm hopeful. I'm honored to serve on this commission with these other members, that have national stature, not only here in New Jersey. And one of the main points that I'm hoping to bring to that conversation is one about ALICE, where ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. And we saw our ALICE population rise from 33% of households to about 40% of households during this expansion. So what I take away from that is that, yes, you can grow the economy, but if you don't have those institutions that help to create wealth in the middle parts of the economy and the lower parts of the economy, you have a major problem. And the roosters are coming home to bad metaphor, but the bottom line is we're seeing major upheaval because we haven't made those investments in the past in our communities.
Guys, thanks for joining me this morning. The mayor of Teaneck, New Jersey, Mohammed Hamiduddin, former chief economist of the U.S. Labor Department, William Rogers. Thanks, guys.